ating draft na is brought to you by Smart. Dapat nadagdagan ko pa sana kasi dati madami yun eh. Pero ngayon kasi lumiit na lang eh. And the Execration versus Aura PH. Midnight thoughts on the bands na meron dito yung teams.
Alam mo, naalala ko yung spill eh. Who will make the smarter choice in terms of the draft?
Yeah,
Pero
yeah,
dito,
yan.
pagdating sa Execration and Aura PH, we've talked about how Aura PH has been really good with the drafting lately, no? And Execration, they are still covering up some of their weaknesses on this aspect. Pero sa nakikita natin, may smart choice na kagad ang Execration, removing the Digi of Aura PH. Tapos, yung isa sa hero na talagang kaya i-flex ng Aura PH, yung Cho.
By the way, 1-0 Kelra kay KLBJ sa Jack and Poy. And panalo sila. And kung nakikita nyo dito, mukhang tapos na yung series nila doon. And natutok naman sila dito sa series nila. And as you can see, there is another band that's gonna come out in just a bit. And we are waiting for it. Slowly but surely, Johed Eve, Cho, Digi.
Yeah.
Talagang ano lang eh, binabase lang nila sa ginagamit talaga dito nung mga yung kalaban mismo.
Yeah. Ito yung mga kinaklasify natin as OP first picks. Yung mga literal first openers na lagi mo makikita either picked or banned. So I really like the choice here of Aura PH, removing outside factors pagdating sa draft ng Execration. Kumbaga pwede kasi i-surprise na Execration yung Aura PH by picking up these heroes. Ito yung mga heroes na typically nakikita natin na hindi pinapansin ng Execration kasi it's either banned or hindi nila nilalaro talaga. So again, Aura PH, they're just limiting the options of Execration dito as to what they have been playing prior to the series.
Phenomenal Eve play para kay Eto Max.
Yeah.
Nakikita ko kung paano siya mag-control ng mapa. And Execration, tatanggalin nila yung prowess ng Aura PH para mag-initiate or magkaroon ng Mathilda factor dun sa side ng Aura PH. While Ling naman ang tinanggal ng side ng Aura para hindi magamit ni KLVJ since alam naman natin na natin mag-teammates to and alam nila JP kung paano gumalaw to si Kiel. Selena, napauka, ano nangyari doon?
You know, Execration, they might have wanted the Selena in the first place, pero they know that they're up against Aura PH. So I think it's better for them to get the first pick Selena. Kasi kapag hindi mo kinuha to, kukunin ni Grid to eh. Matic yan. Ito yung pinaka-automatic sa lahat ng pwede mangyari for Aura PH. Kapag binigay mo yung Selena, laging kukunin ni Grid yan.
Overall, it's a good pick for the side of Execration. First pick material din naman siya. But then again, in the middle, meron ding deny na nangyayari para sa Aura. Benedetta Granger, while sumagot naman dito yung Execration ng Lance at Kufra.
I like this. The idea behind the Lancelot pick is, well, pinik naman na yung Ranger on the side of Aura PH. But it threatens the jungler of Aura. And there's no flexing room anymore for Aura PH. You already see two of their cores at dinagdagan pa nila. Pinasok pa nila yung Alice ni Benny Cutie. So this is Aura PH showing Execration na wala na kaming pakialam kung makipag-contest kayo sa amin. We just want to get our heroes. And Execration, I really like the answer. The Lancelot immediately picked up after the Granger kasi ito yung direct answer nila against Aura PH.
And as you can see, Alice nga yung kinuha ng Aura. And it seems to me na nakuha ng Aura yung concept na gusto gawin ng Execration eh. As you can see, napaka-safe ng isang Selena pag nagtatapon lang siya ng Abyssal Arrow from afar. Pagka may tinamaan, tsaka kayo mag-e-engage. And with an Alice, kapag dumating yung mid-game, late-game, pwede ka pumersa ng engage na hindi sila handa at hindi nakapwesto yung Execration.
Yeah. Pero ang maganda naman sa ginawa ng Execration dito is that they picked up the Kufra immediately para maubos yung hero pool ni JP. Dalawa yung ginagawa nitong Kufra pick na to. Number one, yung sinabi natin kanina na dine-deny nila yung hero pool ni JP. Number two, you already see that Aura PH will be playing a side lane Benedetta. So wala na yung option for them to pick up the Barats. Something na na-discover din natin ngayong season na ang pangit talaga maglaro ng Kufra against sa Barats. Kasi ang ginagawa lang ng Barats, hinaharapan niya yung Kufra and with the passive of the big guy, yung resilience, talagang kakainin niya lang pagkatalon kagad. So Execration, alam nila wala na yung factor na yon, immediately remove the Kufra option for Aura PH.
And now, nandun na tayo sa second phase ng ating bans. Nauna na si Harith, tinanggal na rin ni Execration si Kagura. Tapos, ang ginawa naman ng Aura, tinanggal nila yung Lunox. Nakakatakot nga naman yung Lunox ngayon. Especially yung way kung paano siya nilalaro ngayon.
Yeah, I like the idea. You mentioned the Lunox, no? It's supposed to be a target ban on the gold lane for Execration. Nililimit lang nila yung lalaroin ni Kelra. But I really want to highlight the importance of the Harith ban. Kasi it seals up the factor na wala nang ibang hero si Kelra. Most of the gold laners would be resorting to early game composed lineups. Pero remember, meron kang Alice sa side ng Aura PH. Something na kailangan i-address ng Execration.
Okay. Popol and Kupa ang binan na side ng execution. I really think it's because of the branch plays na pwede nilang gawin. Pero PH, kumuha sila dito ng Barats. And nagigets ko kung bakit napareact dito si Midnight ng ganyan. It's because, all in all, lahat ng spots dapat ng course dito ng side ng Aura, na-fill na ng Benedetta, Granger, at Alice. Pero, merong isang wild Barats na lumabas out of nowhere.
Oo, Batters, a wild Barats appeared, no? Sabi ni Aura PH, anong walang Barats pick? Ha, magaling kami mag-draft. Oh my goodness. I love the Barats pick. It's really good against the heroes of execution. Number one, it counters two heroes, the Kufra and the Selena. Literal na itong dalawang heroes na to, walang silbi sa harap ni Barats. The Lancelot though, it's a different kind of discussion. Pero the thing is, Aura PH, they've secured themselves a good answer to the team fight of execution.
At napilitan sumagot yung execution ng isang backshot pick. Now, this is going to be a Claude side lane na madalas ginagamit ni Kelra, and as we can see, Aura PH taking their time doon sa last pick nila. What do you think about this?
This is a Farsa. This is an easy Farsa pick for Aura PH. Either that or they go for a Natalia alongside the Benedetta. Baka support tong Benedetta na to, so it might be... Oy! Kakaiba! Kakaiba.
So, tank Barats.
Hindi. Tank Estes.
Well, nasa ganun side tayo na parang kumbaga nagkaroon sila ng, as we can say, a tank support setup na hindi mage yung nasa gitna. Hindi mo siya mako-consider as mid-mage, but at the same time, si Greed yung magkakaroon ng priority dito into the lane.
Yeah, I kinda get the idea since nagkaka-item din naman yung usual phosphorus natin. So it still fits the idea na may Barats option si Aura PH. Ang nakakatakot dito is yung early game prowess ni execution actually. Kasi kahit sabihin natin na yes, meron kang Barats, you can stop the Kufra and the Selena, the thing is, you need to get the stacks. And yung early game na execution, they can just snowball with the Selena, leash niya yung Lancelot with the arrows, tapos play aggressively in the jungle of Aura PH.
That is true, Midnight. And do not forget na kahit may Barats sa kabila, Chaknu is one of those specialists na bigla kang gugulatin na magandang setup. So, this could be a factor, sinasabi ko lang, for the side of Aura PH na kailangan nila bantayan. Yes, you do have the counter, but still, if someone is playing the Kufra in a good manner or a good position, paramdam ko kailangan nyo pa rin mag-ingat. Let's head on sa Celestial Palace. Hindi pa pala, ladies and gentlemen.
Testing lang, practice
Testing lang.
Parang ano yan, sabi ni Chuck, no? Sige, testingin natin yung Kufra sa Barats. Specialist di ba? It's something na it's something na you can't remove from the player.
And by the way, yung slotting nun, Midnight, first phase, pinili si Kufra, at ang actual na sumagot is going to be Aura.
Yeah, and it was something na nakita natin previously that has been done by execution, no? Knowing na ito kasi yung recipe nila for success. So, sabi ng, marami nagsasabi, bakit nga naman di binibigay yung Kufra at Atlas ni Chuck? Well, ito na, sabi ni Pakbet, first phase, Kufra tayo agad.
This is interesting. Katulad nga ng sinabi natin, all of the teams have different understandings ng meta, ng drafting, and they will have to execute it well dito sa game na to. Now, ano yung factor na merong tig-isa or dalawang player na talagang gumagamit? Sabihin na natin na alam kung paano gumagalaw yung laro ng isang team o kung paano gumagana yung bootcamp nila?
I think ang factor dito is yung sa execution, no? They have 4 of the key heroes that they wanted. So I think mas kabisado nila dapat yung laro ng isa't isa, no? Yung communications nila sa camp, especially with Kel VJ and Etomax on the Lancelot and Selena, mas pabor sa kanila yung ganitong klaseng setup. While you have Aura PH na medyo nag-adjust, and I think they were even forced into a corner here to pick up the Estes and the Barats.
And as you can see, yung triple split screen natin, Kilowash versus Renjo, Kelra against Benny Cutie at Greed Etomax. Medyo nakakaroon ng konting suntukan din sa may gitna, at si Chaknu nandun agad sa pwesto ng Granger at ng Estes.
Yep, yan yung sinasabi natin kanina, yung aggression na pwedeng dalhin ni Selena at ni Kufra on invading the jungles of Aura PH. It forced the retribution immediately on the side of Lord Hades. Pero si KLVJ, ginamit din niya actually yung retribution niya. I think it was on the Little Wanderer para lang masecure. But yeah, it does mean that Aura PH, they can be delayed by the presence of the Kufra and the Selena.
Greed, Etomax, medyo nagkakaroon sila ng onting back and forth doon, at ginagamit ni Etomax yung window na hindi pa level 4 dito si Greed para maging aggressive.
Yep, and ang malaking problem dito for Aura PH, hold that thought,
And there is Kelra going down. Rotation coming out from Aura PH. Execution, they are going to have problems if magtuloy-tuloy ito.
Yeah, the wonderful side, the wonderful things on the side of execution here is that JP got the purple buff instead of the Granger. Maybe something na pre-practice ng Aura no na kay Estes yung purple buff. Pero normally you'd see Granger have the purple buff, and I think it's because of the presence din yung panggugulo ni Kufra tsaka ni Selena. Pero napaganda actually kasi they immediately rotated towards the bottom lane.
If it was any other hero rather than Granger, tingin ko hindi yon magiging case eh.
Yeah.
Kailangan mo ibigay yung purple buff.
Yeah, definitely.
Dun sa hero na yon, like a Lance, a Ling, kasi kailangan nila yung energy, kailangan nila yung mana. But, if you're gonna go for a Granger, usually kailangan mo lang si Granger, antayin matapos yung Rhapsody,
Yeah.
tapos mag-rondo ka, Death Sonata, you need the pure damage that comes out from the orange buff.
Yep, and this comes from the level of understanding ng mga players natin. Alam ni Lord
That's
Hades
true.
na bakit di ako mag-rotate kahit level 3 lang ako? Claude lang naman yung nasa bottom lane. And yung rotation, it started from the top, went to the bottom lane no, para masecure nila yung purple buff. So immediately, nasa isip ng Aura PH, wala naman tayong hinihintay na iba pang timers, naka-orange buff naman si Granger, which is yun lang naman kailangan niya. We can rotate towards the bottom lane. And again, ito yung level of understanding ng mga players na to. They're able to adjust these kinds of things. Kahit nakuha ni JP yung purple buff, so what, diba? Punta pa rin tayo ng bottom lane.
Those are the things na kailangan natin maintindihan dito sa laban na to. There are certain things, maliliit na bagay, ladies and gentlemen, na talagang ginagawa tong mga teams na to para makuha yung panalo. And as we all know, Aura is excellent in objective timing.
Yeah.
Ang galing nila humanap ng proper time umikot, and for execution, I really think yung pagiging aggressive nila is top notch.
Oh, yeah.
Ngayon, kung mababasa ng execution yung timers netong side ng Aura, baka yun yung maging way nila para matalo yung Aura doon sa mga objective fight.
Yep, and those conditions for execution will come pagdating ni Lancelot ng level 4. Pati na rin si Kufra actually, very critical yan. So they have a timer na kaya nila i-contest yung Aura PH. As of right now, early game should go in the hands of Aura. But the thing is, the Lancelot will literally be unstoppable in this game kapag nag-snowball siya. Kasi if you look at the heroes of Aura PH, all they have is defensive capabilities against the Lancelot. They have no offensive capabilities against KLBJ.
We did see this nung week 7 din. Actually, one of the 2 days na meron tayo ngayon. Yung Signal, si Kekedot, gumamit siya ng lapu-lapu, which is, siya yung naging tank, pero siya rin, technically, yung naging side lane,
Yeah.
di ba? Side lane kasi lapu yung gamit niya,
Yep.
pero nasa mid.
Yep.
And I really think na pareho yung konsepto nung lapu at saka nung bakit sa ginagawa nila ngayon.
Yeah.
So, masasabi ba natin na nagiging maganda ba yung matchup na to kay Etomax? Kasi pwede niyang batuhan ng pana si Barats, and Barats, as we all know, wala siyang dash. Ang nangyayari dito kay Barats, parang nga siya isa sa akin na wala siyang mobility kahit ano. Talagang lalakarin mo yung mga bagay-bagay kung wala kang flicker. So do you think that is going to be something na kailangan tignan ng execution na papababain ko yung buhay ni Greed bago tayo pumunta ng objective?
Yeah, I think they should kasi by nature, it's already a victory for them knowing na position 4, Barats to. Even though you explained kanina no, na yung post 4 natin, nagiging blurry na nga kung sino yung mga heroes na nilalagay dito. Pero as Aura PH, no, as this game goes on, mararamdaman natin na parang nagiging 4 yung core nila. Pero as it is right now, they have no heroes like Farsa, they have no heroes like Kagura na talagang natural playmaker. So again, if you're gonna ask the question should execution look into this, I think they should. Kasi if they pass it up, it's victory already out of the window.
Rencho, umikot kay Kilowash at ang dalawang mag-idol na nagbatian sa Twitter at sabi nila, makakalaro ko yung may idol. Ang sagot ni Kilowash, good luck po, Idol Grid.
Yan. Alam mo, ang kinaganda naman dito sa matchup natin is lahat naman to magkakaibigan.
Oh, an eye for an eye, double stun.
Yeah. The thing is, iba pa rin kasi pagdating sa sa laro talaga. Pag kumaga lahat kayo, kahit magkakaibigan kayo, magkakaaway kayo sa game. Siyempre, wag mong awayin yung kampi mo.
Wag mong awayin yung kampi mo, Grid. Sinubukan siya kuwain ni Kelra, pero kasi masyado mataas yung buhay niya and ginamit yung Blazing Duet na yun para mag-clear lang ng wave.
Yep, something na nagiging nagiging normal na rin for Claude users, no, expanding the Blazing Duet para mapabilis yung farming speed. I like what Aura is doing right now, contesting the bottom lane, habang si JP at si Greed nang gugulo lang. Uy, nakain pa.
And si Greed dito, Daytona's welcome, nagkabatuan, and look at this, Kilowatt to the rescue! Maaabot na kasi ito, Max, hindi niya maaabot. KLBJ na paggamit ng 2 dash, wala na yun, nasa cooldown na yun. Renjo, one more hit, revitalize, hindi siya masasalba.
Grabe, Kilowash with the rotation on the Benedetta. Additional pa yung sustain na binibigay ni JP. And now you see how good of a defensive lineup Aura PH is. Kapag wala ka ma-burst down, literal na isusustain lang. And ang naging problema nila dun is they exhausted a lot of resources on greed. Pero hinil lang siya ni JP. So nung pumasok na si Kilowash, there was literally nothing for execution to do.
Dun sa may taas, nagkakaroon tayo ng push galing kay Kilowash at kay Lord Hades. Renjo being the back siya. I mean, malakas siya mag-hold ng lane.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But in terms of wave clear, kailangan mo gamitin yung ultimate mo.
Yep. And execution, ito na yung pinag-uusapan natin timers kanina. No? Nandyan na yung level 4s ni Chakdu, but they need a lot more time. They need the items on the Lancelot, on Kel VJ, and they actually need for Seldina to scout some potential targets here for execution. And meanwhile, Aura PH naman, pwede sila mag-relax lang. Again, ito yung lineup na pwede kang mag-relax as long as execution, they're not playing aggressive. Kasi pagdating ng late game, you have all the defensive capabilities in the world and ma-amplify pa yan with the items that they can buy.
Ngayon, nakikita natin yung Selena dito ni Eto Max. Talagang umikot-ikot lang siya, try niya maglagay ng trap. And napakalaking bagay kasi na jungle track mo, yung kalaban.
Yeah.
Like, for example, itong Granger na to mabilis mag-clear to. And given the fact na mabilis siya mag-clear, yung timers ng pag-gank niya, dun sa may top or dun sa may bot or possibly yung mid, napapabilis din eh.
Yeah, definitely.
So, ibig sabihin, kapag nilagay ka ng trap doon, nakikita mo at nababalaan mo yung teammate mo, oy, papunta na sila dyan. Nandiyan na sila sa area mo, mag-target hug ka muna.
Yeah. Yun yung information control na pwedeng makuha ng execution. But this is something that should switch come the mid-game, no? Imbis na pang-defensive na, uy, back ka muna, third hug ka muna. Dapat pagdating ng mid-game, when you get information from the traps, dapat makapag-calculate na aggressive play si execution. Kasi that's their main condition. That's their primary condition to win this game. Kailangan mag-snowball yung Lancelot. So when the timer comes, dapat talaga mag-switch yung laro ng execution.
And this is going to be interesting kung paano nila gagamitin yun sa kanilang advantage. And Kilowash, na kung nakita nyo dun sa last part na nakita natin yung mapa, nandun siya sa may triangle brush noong top lane. Ngayon, it's kinda like a Benedetta special na eh, na hindi lang naman si Kilowash yung gumagawa nito. And Kilowash knows na pwede magamit yung presensya niya doon sa may ibang lane if ever man mabilis niya makiklear yung wave.
Yeah, napakabilis kasi ng mobility ng Benedetta. So it's something that comes with the hero, parang second nature na, no? Kapag nilalaro mo yung Benedetta, once you've cleared the wave, you should automatically rotate kasi aabot at aabot ka. Parang essentially far sa side lane. Na kapag na-clear mo na yung wave, pwede ka mag-rotate towards mid, help your teammates, and tulungan mo na kumontrol ng resources. So it's Kilowash, it's really good that he is doing this kasi kung hindi nila ginagawa yun, walang punish sa yung pag-farm ni execution ng early game.
A lot of teams are doing this, and at the same time, guys, ngayon sinasabi ko na sa inyo, nagiging mainit ang last day natin. Mainit na nga sa first two series, feeling ko papainitin pa ng third and fourth. Ngayon, Aura Execration, they're looking at each other, and ngayon ko na napansin pala, midnight, no? Nabuo na naman yung Season 4 at Season 5 champions natin.
Oo. Andito lahat, no?
Si Raplisha lang ata wala eh.
Well, si Raplisha, feeling ko ano naman yun eh. Tamang nood na lang. Sabi niya, wala, tapon na kami.
Tsaka sabi ni Raplisha, feeling ko, wala eh. Talagang nandyan na ako eh. Ramdam niyo naman ako dyan eh.
Ramdam naman yung presensya niya eh. Tsaka feeling ko si Raplisha kasi busy na kinakurl niya yung blonde na buhok niya.
Wag natin balikan yung mga bagay na gano'n, ladies and gentlemen. Kami ang nabiktima noon.
Yep.
And alam mo, seeing them playing on opposite sides of the map, talagang, alam mo yon, ang tagal na ng pinagdaanan natin sa MPL. Ang tagal na rin na pinagdaanan nila. Even though na taon lang halos yung pagitan nun. Nakikita mo that these players are evolving. And Kilowash, Electro Final Blow, clearing out the wave. At kung mapapansin mo yung placement ngayon ng Aura sa mapa, nandun na sila sa side ng execution.
Oo. Ito, alam mo, familiar na familiar to eh. Kakakita lang natin tong ganitong klaseng gameplay from our previous series. This is how Blacklist Internationals play the map. They split with Edward and rotate towards their gold lane, maximize kung ano man yung farm na meron yung gold laner nila, and just insanely put a lot of pressure on one of the side lane. Kasi alam mo na lamang naman yung isang side lane when it comes to wave clear. So, pwedeng apatin mo yung isang lane habang walang sagot yung kabilang team.
Yes, nakuha nyo yung kill kay Greed dahil dinelay niya kayo sa pagpunta dun sa baba.
Yeah.
Pero look at this. yung farming spot ng isang Claude as early as 5 minutes in, wala na siyang torre doon.
Wala na talaga. Nada. Literal na walang bahay si Kelra dito. And it forces the Claude to move out of this farming space. Pero doon pa rin siya pupunta. And it's a nice choice kasi yung Aura PH, nandun naman sila sa taas, no? So this is information control from Kelra na alam niyang inaapat yung backshot sa may top lane. So pwede ka mag-farm sa may bottom lane.
And as you can see, si Kelra doon, napakalayo ng pinuntahan niya and matatagalan siya bago makapunta dito sa may turtle. So it's going to be a 3v4 situation. Kung gugustuhin man ng execution na kunin to, pero Retrigard, KLVJ, naagaw pa niya, Lord Hades, ang kanyang next target, KLVJ, going up and manning up against the side of Aura. Wow! Kiel will go down, but still the fact remains. Nakuha niya pa rin yung turtle at nakuha niya pa rin si Hades.
Okay na yon, Butters, kasi nakuha naman yung jungler, diba? Na-trade lang, kumbaga, pero essentially, it was just a mistake from KLBJ. Pero nakuha pa rin niya yung kailangan niyang kunin. Wala lang siyang dash, pero kung meron yun, baka naubos ang Aura PH. Oh! Nice play from the Kufra right there.
And Benny Cutie, di nga in-expect yun, napapasok pa si Chakno. Binigay ni Chakno yung buhay niya. And it's a good move kung iisipin mo, kasi madedelay yung pagkuha ni Alice ng stacks.
Yeah.
And hindi pa siya makakapag-farm for that certain moment.
Yep. Tsaka ang kinaganda ng trade is tank naman si Chaktu. He passively gains gold from the mascot he has. Oh my goodness! Kelra! Blazing Duet! Oh my god! Kulang yung damage, Butters!
And grabe yung pag-pinpoint nila kung nasan si Lord Hades. If ever man na walang ulti si JP doon, that could have been a kill. Grabe yung damage output.
Oo, kailangan alalahanin ng execution ng Aura to, no? Yung damage na nakukuha nila from the Claude, and especially yung setup pa ni Kufra. Very cute going in.
At binawian ni Benik si Chakno dito. Talagang nung nakita niyang papasok na, tsaka naman siya pumasok. Siya na mismo yung nag-dive! KLVJ! Na biktima na dito as welcome! Kilowash sa may pinakalikod. Sinusubukan niya i-zone out yung mga members dito side ng execution. Aura! They will take down the turrets once again. Lumiit na naman ang mapa nila. Renjo humarap. Hindi pa kinakaya ng Aura ngayon, pero masaya sila sa nakuha nila.
Yeah, alam mo, Butters, this time around, Aura PH, they're the ones holding a gold lead against Execration. Although nandun pa rin naman yung damage output ni KLVJ, at this point, the sustain is just higher on the side of Aura PH. Nandiyan na yung heal ni JP, nandiyan na rin yung defensive items on the heroes of Aura PH. And ayun, makikita natin yung item check nung naka-brute force breastplate na si Lord Hades, and pati na rin si Barats, meron ng Dreadnought armor, building up his next item. So this is a huge problem for Execration kasi Blade of Hephaestus pa lang inukuha ni KLBJ.
And yung Aura ngayon, no, parang hindi sila yung timing perfect na team. Na yung Execration, nakakitaan mo na pinipilit pa rin talaga nilang i-contest kahit papano yung mga objectives. At ang nagiging way nila, sila yung nauuna dun sa pwesto. And right now, magbaba-out sila dun kasi nga mas madaming kailangan i-manage lanes as compared sa Aura.
Kaya na, Antique Kiras for greed and ultimate bonding experience for Aura PH. 5 hero yun nasa mid lane. Hindi nila hayaan na matapos to. They can still take more objectives. May Titanos welcome pa si Greed. Arrow hits JP pero wala naman silang pakialam.
Systematic ang ginagawa ng Aura. Check! Doon natin sa may pinakalikod! Lord Hades na naman yung na-target nila! KLVJ nasa gilid! And Blessing of the Moon God! Pinihit ni JP! Pero will it be enough? Kelra dito tutumba! Claude will go down! Estes ang next na tutumba, mga kaibigan! Greed, trying to run away, pero sa sobrang daming tao dito, tingin ko, midnight, this is going to be a kill. Kilowash, nandito pa rin, eye for an eye, makakatakbo ba siya? Renjo, hinahabol siya unti-unti. Stun, nandun, bago tumama yung gulong. At sila Chakno, Max, humahabol pa rin. Sabi nila, sige pre, tatangkihin ko to, ako na bahala. Execute, ginamit na ni Kilowash. Para kahit, tinamaan ng pala. Max, tumama yung pana.
Alam mo, napakalupit nung start for Execration. Chaknu with a perfect sandwich play on the backline. Nag-shift ng focus si Aura PH. Nagulat sila, may Kufra sa likod. Pero hindi nila napansin is the entry of the Lancelot. Napakagandang pag-control nun with the dashes. And he was able to secure the kill onto Lord Hades. Pero I think napunta sa ibang hero yun. Pero it could have been better for Execration if had Benecutie not noticed Kelra's entry with the Claude. Kasi yung ginawa ni Benecutie, nung nagkakaroon na ng team fight, alam niya na ang kailangan niyang isipin is may paparating na Claude. So he was able to hold off Kelra with the Blazing Duet and napatay pa nga niya yung Claude. Pero this is something that they have to worry about, no? Again, yung damage output ng Execration, it's still overwhelming at this point. Kailangan pa rin mag-ingat ng Aura PH whenever they try to engage on team fights against Execration.
Aura is doing great lalo na sa mga team fights, but Execration nagbabato rin sila ng sarili nilang suntok. Lord is now up at nakikita nyo naman yung pwestuhan ng mga team dito. Nasa taas na sila. And you know what, Midnight, ang pinaka napapansin ko dito sa side ng Execration, ang galing nila i-pinpoint kung nasaan si Lord Hades.
Yeah, ito kasi yung primary target nila. Kumbaga lahat ng mata ng Execration nakatingin sa Granger. Pag lumabas sa cellphone nila, auto-lock yung mata nila. Ang tinitignan nila si Lord Hades. And nagre-reflect naman sa KDA 0, 2, and 3. At the moment, yung Granger natin. Ito yung hero sa side ng Aura PH na ang tingin ng Execration, bawal kang maglaro.
Eh kung mapapansin mo, Midnight, yung passive dito ni Greed, literal na mas nagiging madali ata siya tamaan ng panay dun sa big guy.
Lumalaki siya. Pero alam mo, Batas, wala naman kasi siyang walang problema eh. Kasi pag tinamaan siya, less than 1 second yung yung stun ng arrow, sa totoo lang eh. Hindi siya tinamaan, sayang.
Diba? Ang nangyayari kasi, okay lang na saluhin niya yon. Kasi nga mayroong passive. At dahil sa passive na yun, tumataas yung regen, yung stun time, bumababa.
Oh my goodness.
Si Greed, alis siya, Benny Cutie, nandun sa may pinakalikod. Eto Max, nahuli. At eto na yung sinasabi nating force engage. Wala sa pwesto, eto Max, kaya siya mahuhuli. Si Kellera, walang pumansin. Sinusubukan niya i-take down si Greed, pero tingin ko hindi yun yung tamang target. Grenjo, tinatangke, 4 na tao. Chaknu, 2 tangke, nandun sa may pinakaharap. Hinayaan na nila makataka si Kellera. Si Chaknu ang main target nila, and that turret sa may gitna.
Nakita mo yun, Batters. Tinangke ni Greed lahat. Tyrant's Revenge, Tyrant's Rage. Pati yung pa natin ang buhay pa rin with the sustain of the blessing of the Moon Goddess and Aura PH. They want to end the game right now.
Gustong-gusto na lang tapusin to, Kilowash. And Benny Cutie, grabe yung effort na pinapakita nila dito. The golden duo of Aura PH. Greed, yung pana sinasalo, yung tenacity nandun.
Less than 1 second, sabi ni Grid. Panahin mo ako, okay lang. Tatanggapin ko ng buong puso. Alam mo, si Grid dito, napakalaki na nung barracks niya. Gusto niya talaga, syempre gusto ni Grid malaki siya. Para may stacks with the big guy. And kahit anong CC ibato mo sa kanya, hindi nagtatagal ng 1 second.
And ito yung nakikita natin dito, si Greed, literal sinasalo niya lahat ng pwedeng saluhin para lang lumaki yung kanyang barracks. And at the same time, papansinin mo, huwag ka tumawa dyan. Eto Max, kahit anong gawin niya, kahit subukan niya palusutin, parang nangyayari kasi, si Greed, hinahanap niya pa na matamaan siya.
Sabi ni Aura PH dito, pag meron tayong barat sa harap na, na full stacks, pwede tayong pumasok ng pumasok. Kasi sasaluhin lang ni Greed lahat eh. Literal na, again, ito yung pinag-uusapan natin kanina noon, literal na walang kayang gawin si Chaknu and pati na rin si Eto Max kapag yung Barats yung problema nila. Pero kaya nga napakaganda ng sandwich play ni Chakno kanina kasi hindi ready, and ang natalunan niya is yung backline, which was Lord Hades and the gang. Pero ito, naku po,
Chakno, ginamitan ng Daytona's welcome, hindi ma-cancel, dinala niya doon sa kamay ng kanyang teammates. Kahit wala na yung stun, gusto lang nila mapalapit, and ayaw niya din itama sa pader kasi if ever hindi nila mapatay agad, sila yung mababalikan doon.
Tabi-tabi pa naman sila, sabi nila, wag dyan pare, tabi-tabi tayo. Pag tayo na-ult yan, tapos ang ML.
And Lord Hades, this might be yung pinakamalaking contribution niya for this fight if ever he gets this Lord. Kasi nga kanina pa siya shutdown ng side ng Execration. And hindi mo siya masisisi. Ganun talaga yung game plan ng Exe.
Yeah, it's a hard Granger game. Knowing na may Selena, merong back siya, and kailangan mo rin intindihin yung entry ni Claude tsaka ni Lancelot. Actually, sobrang daming tumatakbo sa isip ni Lord Hades ngayon. Hindi lang buhay niya, pati ML kailangan niya problemahin. Kaya napakahirap laruin nung kanyang game. But the thing is, he has only died twice.
Now, Execration, is time on their side, Midnight?
Not anymore. Kasi wala na. Ang timers ngayon ay nakay Aura na. There's a lot of defensive capabilities on this roster. In Execration, tapos na yung momentum nila na mag-snowball. They're hoping to get an opportunity against Aura PH with an immaculate set from Chaknu.
At ito, nagkakaroon na ng onting, hindi onting push. Ito yung big major push.
Chaknu!
Ginagawa ng Aura. Chaknu! Dun sa may likod! The specialist! Penny Cutie surpressed! Winter Truncheon nagkabatuhan na! Ladies and gentlemen!
Oh my goodness!
Down. Claude! Kellera! Nakuha niya yung kill! Chaknu tumalon dun sa may pinakaharap, and Lord Hades hindi siya mahanap ngayon ng side ng Exe.
The specialist, ladies and gentlemen, kakasabi ko lang, humanap na magandang set. He was able to set on the backline na gamit kagad yung Blessing of the Moon Goddess to save kung sino man yung natalo na niya. Pero sabi ng Execration, bait lang yon. Kasi pag nagtipon-tipon kayo, magdikit-dikit kayo sa damage ng Blazing Duet ni Kelra.
At eto, Execration marching on to the mid lane. Gusto na nilang basagin yung mga tore. Gusto nilang maging even yung mapa. Gusto nilang mabawi yung map control na kung ano man ang wala. Hey, Jack! No! Oh my goodness! Lord Hades! Oh my!
But win condition of Aura PH. Tanggalin si Jackno.
Oh, ano yun? Ano yun?
Wala. Alam mo, Butter, sabi nga ni Pakpet, nasa player na yan. Wala na sa draft. Kinounter na ng Aura PH, pero Jackno kasi yan.
Jackno making impossible plays happen dito para sa side ng Execration and Aura. Paano mo sasagutin yung isang tao na magaling lang talaga mag-set?
Wala. Dasal. O kaya, ang pwedeng gawin ng Aura PH dito is constantly look for the Kufra. Pero kasi, ang problema nila dun sa part na yun, di ba, nagpupush yung Lord, lahat sila nakatingin kay Lord. Si Kufra, si Jackno, wala sa base. Ang hirap sagutin ng mga ganong klaseng movements. Veteran moves eh.
Veteran moves and Jackno. Kailangan mo talaga siya i-take account for. Kung hindi mo alam kung saan si Jackno at any possible moment ng clash, ganun yung mga bagay na nangyari. At nahagip niya doon si Benny Cutie. Si Benny Cutie, hindi siya nakalapit sa madaming tao.
Yeah.
Na-control siya from afar ni Kelra at nung Lance, nabatuan na siya ng Thorn Rose. And at the same time, Midnight, parang ano yun eh. Yun yung pinakaayaw na pwesto ng isang alis na walang malapit sa kanya kasi nagtathrive. Nagtathrive ang isang alis kapag maraming kalaban na nakapaligid sa kanya kasi sustain is coming from the enemies themselves.
Yeah, and then nagisagot din na Execration is nung nag-Winter Truncheon si Alice, wag na nating pansinin. They went for the backline. Kelra actually made the perfect entry to that team fight. Sabi niya, okay guys, nakapag-setup na si Jackdo dahil nga naka-ultimate bonding experience ang Aura PH. Dikit-dikit sila, lahat sila sinalo. Yung damage output ng Blazing Duet, even with the sustain of the Winter Truncheon, hindi naging enough yon for Benny Cutie to go out.
Alam mo ba kung ano yung nakadikit talaga doon?
Ano yung nakadikit doon?
Ano yung LAN cable? Nagiging mabilis talaga lahat. Double giga eh.
Sakto green pa yun, no?
Oh, double giga eh.
Double giga.
Yun yung tinatawag na double giga connection. Ngayon, balik tayo dito sa my game. Ladies and gentlemen, mga LAN cable ngayon, huwag ka tumawa dyan.
Alam mo, naniniwala naman ako. Kasi kapag dinikitan ka ng JP, only speeds.
Only speeds.
Takbo lang na takbo.
Only speeds. Yo! Now, Aura. Laban lang.
Oy!
Nandiyan na.
Ang dami ng immortality sa side ng Aura PH. Actually, this is something that Execration needs to worry about. Yung second round ng Aura PH. Again, if you are a sustained lineup, habang tumatagal yung clash, no? Even though beneficial kay Claude yan, kapag wala ng burst damage yung lineup na kalaban nyo, pabor sa inyo. Kasi second time around, may sustain pang idadagdag yung Aura PH.
Renjo, nahuli siya. Meron pa ba siya nung gulong? I think not. Revitalize, pinapatagal lang, dinedelay lang inevitable, and he will go down.
Oh, Grid?
While si Grid, nahuli din sa may gilid.
Oh, nakain!
At nakain siya dito, dalawang member ata ng Execration na mawawala. Make that 3. Eto Max, makakatakas ba siya? Pero nandoon yung dalawang members, hindi ko na alam kung saan sila nakabase. Yung isa nandun sa kabila, yung isa nanggagaling dun sa river.
Araw?
Tatama, pero still.
Less than 1 second.
Less than 1 second.
Grabe, mahater si Grid. Mamamatay na siya. Pagkakain niya kay KLVJ, which was nice target selection by the way, kasi alam niya na si KLVJ yung papatay sa kanya. Pagkakain, flicker out, dinudge yung huling tira, and he was able to regen some HP after the Daytona's welcome.
Actually, pagkakabasa ko nga doon Midnight, yung nag-Daytona's welcome, nung hindi pa kumakagat, nag-flicker na siya.
Nag-flicker na kagad para ma-dodge niya.
Para mahuli niya yung Lancelot. And di ba katulad nga ng sinabi mo kanina, Lancelot is one of those heroes na ang hirap talaga huliin ng Daytona's welcome. Kumbaga, pag Daytona's welcome, tapos Lancelot yung kalaban mo, unless magamit niya talaga in a wrong manner yung kanyang mga skills, ilista mo na makakataka siya.
Oo. Pero at least you bait out the dash. Kasi ang kailangan niyang gawin doon is gamitin yung kanyang first skill, lalo pag late na. Pwede mong gamitin yung Phantom Execute mo to get out of the AoE. Pero most of the time, syempre yung Lancelot gusto niya minamadali. Kaya yung first skill, nabe-bait out yun. Kaya medyo interesting yung matchup ng Barat tsaka Lancelot.
And ngayon, nakikita nyo, both of the teams, nandito na sa area ng Lord. Exe, eto Max, nagbabato ng pana, and that is going to be a 1-second stun dahil nga medyo malayo yon. And remember, it's all about the range for the Selena.
Yep, Jack doon. Nakita niyo si Benny Cutie rito. Naku po! Aura PH, alam nila kung nasan si Jack no, Kuya Butters.
And ang ganda na huli ni Benny Cutie. That is not a flicker in. That is the flowing blood.
Grabe naman yung mga dodgerist na mga players natin. Actually, muntikan na si Execration. But the thing is, at least, it forces out Execration from this box of the Lord para ma-take ng Aura PH. And napakahirap i-contest nito kahit papatamahin nila yung pana nila. Oh, KLVJ!
Oh! Renjo! Nabunggo niya yung Lord! Saan niya mapupunta? Benny Cutie, hinahabol si KLVJ, flicker in, matutumba si Kiel. Pero kakailanganin pa nga ba ng Aura yung Lord dito as they march on sa may gitna? Execration, what can they do? 3v5 situation, and actually 2v4 kasi hindi pinapauwi ni Kilowash dito yung back siya.
Pero may Blazing Duet, may Blazing Duet si Kelra. He can actually clear the next wave and hindi na nga nila kinailangan gamitin. Grabe naman yung pagbunggo ng gulong ni Renzio doon. It saves Execration from this final push. If Aura PH got the Lord, it could have been very bad for them. Pero ito, may next wave na tignan natin. Kung
20 seconds, kailangan nila i-hold. Renzio pabalik. Blazing Duet, ginamit, walang damage whatsoever. Nahuli pa nila si Kelra. Daytona's welcome. Coming in. Chakno, Tyrant's Rage. Pinaalis nga lang yung minions. And I think, Midnight, this is it. Victory for game number 1 goes on the side of Aura Philippines.
My goodness, Greed, sabi niya, ibe-Blazing Duet mo pala. Flicker in, Daytona's welcome, hindi na dodge ni Kelra yun kasi agad-agad nang ginamit, Butters.
And this winning moment is brought to you by Oppo A94. And my goodness, what a game. Actually, pinapanood ko yung game na yun, Midnight, parang anything could have happened. Doon sa span na naghahabulan si Kilowash at si Renjo.
Yep.
Kasi sila talaga yung pinaka-stalker doon na, Renjo, hindi kita